Good morning. Welcome to the Windy City. You guys are all from the Windy City, but I'm from New Hampshire, and it's not this windy there. But my name is Bob Tewksbury. I'm a veteran Major League pitcher, and 13 years in the Major Leagues, a little bit of time right here on this field, and I'm thrilled to have been asked to come and participate in this week, or in this day. On behalf of Chicago Ideas Week, I'd like to welcome you into our discussion on baseball and tradition. This morning we will explore what America's love of baseball says about our culture, and why does the game continue to enamor us and define us. We will hear about the history of baseball and the importance of the fields upon which we play the game. We'll hear about how the game is truly America's game, as in North, South, and Latin America, and we'll try to find out why it's so endearing to the connection of the American psyche. As I said, I played here in 1987 and 1988. I was traded for a fish, Steve Trout, and we both floundered. I went from New York to Chicago and didn't pitch very well, as some of you probably remember. And later went to St. Louis, where I had a lot of success, in particular against the Cubs, which was not an irony, and quite fun, because the Chicago Cub rivalry, I played for the Yankees, and the Red Sox-Yankee rivalry is much different. This rivalry is like a high school football game. It's a college, it's deeper, and it's really, really fun to participate in that as a player, and I enjoyed those days. One of the things, I was just in Florida. I work with the Red Sox now in sports psychology, and I was just down in Florida with our young players, and on the way back I stopped in Orlando, and I came out of the restroom, and there was a father and a son both wearing Cubs t-shirts and Cubs hats. The dad was probably in his 30s, the son was about 6 or 7. And so I asked him, I said, so, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Is Theo coming to Boston? And he said, I don't know. And I said, do you want him to? And he goes, yeah, I think it'd be great. And I said, do you think you're going to get him? And he said, nah, we'll probably screw that up too. And I said, you're a Cub fan. Just that psyche of, disappointment, and certainly if Theo does come here, he'll be a wonderful asset to the organization, and I hope that the Cubs can win one in his tenure as well. The other thing about an airport, one of my Cubs stories, I don't have many playing stories here in Chicago that are worth sharing, but I do remember, as a member of the Cardinals, my dad was flying in from Chicago to get my car to drive it back home at the end of the season. And so I went to the airport to pick my father up. And I was at the terminal waiting, and I'm waiting, and the flight's coming from Chicago. I'm pitching this day, picking him up. And off comes Steve Stone, Harry Carey, Andre Dawson. The whole Cubs team was coming off this plane. And they're looking at me like, oh my God, we must be really going bad for the starting pitcher of the opposing team to greet us at the airport. So I'll never forget that day. Ended up at the batting cage. Ron Santo came up to me and said, I have never ever been in the game my whole life. I've never ever seen the opposing pitcher meet the team at the airport. And he said, the way you've been pitching, we probably should have had you hijacked and taken somewhere else. But so that was one of the great things that, funny stories that happened about being a Cub. This with regard to the psyche of baseball, just for a moment, I think that the father and son at the airport illustrates what's connected this game to our society and to our culture for generations and generations. And I think everyone here is going to talk in some capacity about that. With that said, what makes a baseball what it is, and why are you here, and why are we wearing baseball uniforms, and why do we still come and support teams that there's a reason, and I think in talking with John earlier, John's going to speak on the as a historian, the fantasy of the game. Baseball is a fantasy, and I think that illusion, not an illusion, the interest starts as a young kid, and it transcends our lifetime. And we're always does everyone here remember the first day they went to a major league game? I bet you could cite it, verse it, you could write it as well as Chad wrote The Art of Fielding. You'll never ever forget that. And then you bring your son or daughter to the game, and then they have kids and they bring their son or daughter to the game. You know, and that's why grown men, 50, 60, 70, wear t-shirts of guys half their age. That, you know, they're fans. And every year they want to come to the ballpark, because as much as the season's a disappointment, when spring training comes, what happens? Everyone's got hope again. It renews our passion. Spring's coming, the excitement. Maybe this is the year. And I think that's what baseball illustrates, all of our hope in our lives with maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. And baseball's, I think it reaches us deeply in a lot of different ways. And I'm excited to be part of this day and this discussion.